in the U.S., like
Sister,
multiple mosques were being bombed, I would be very
sister,
concerned, even if that's not my point.
I appreciate it. So let me get to the people who want to talk about which religion is true, and I would love for you to listen to that and maybe get some insight on why I'm saying what I'm saying.
Well, I hope you
Okay?
can expand over
I hope
time,
so
I
too.
guess.
Yeah. All right, have a good day. Okay.
You too, thank you.
Bye. All right, guys. Please come up if you're willing to engage with the subject. Please, thank you. Are you a Muslim?
Yeah.
Awesome. Islam versus Christianity, which is true and why?
So if I were to ask you, is a non-Trinitarian a Christian, what would you say?
If I asked you Islam versus Christianity, which is true and why, what would you say?
Well, I would resort to an argument against the Trinity, as if you believe a Trinity is a core doctrine of Christianity, and one who does not believe in it is not a Christian, then by your own standard, it would disprove Christianity, correct?
Okay, does that mean Islam is true?
Well, you get one step at a time. I can't work two ways here.
So why is Islam true over Christianity?
I believe that the evidence points more towards Islam than Christianity.
Yeah, that's good. What evidence do you have that points to Islam?
It depends on your standard of evidence. I mean, for example, you have more eyewitness testimony. Are you familiar with like mutawatir hadith?
Mm-hmm.
So you have mutawatir hadiths on prophet, like miracles that the prophet performed, whereas with the gospel or rather the Bible,
That seems to contradict the Quran, right?
are you gonna say that the polytheist asked for a miracle and blah blah blah? That doesn't work because the
No,
Quran.
that Allah Himself said that He refrained from sending signs to Muhammad because the people disbelieved in the past.
Yeah, at a particular time.
It doesn't say at a particular time. It just says straight
That's
up.
clear in context because later on in the Quran, it talks about the Isra Miraj journey, which is a miraculous journey.
Is that a miracle that Muhammad performed, or is that a spiritual experience that he just had?
No, it's a miracle because at the time of the miraculous event, rather, because the disbelievers themselves came to him and asked him to describe Jerusalem, and would you agree that
there's a difference between experiencing a supernatural event and performing a supernatural action yourself? Would you agree that those are two different things?
If you can explain the miraculous, well, if you let me finish, like I was saying, right? The disbeliever asked him to describe Jerusalem because he himself visited Jerusalem. The prophet explained how Jerusalem was like in the place that he visited, and the disbeliever said, as for his testimony, he is truthful. That is what it was like. That is a miracle because he did not visit Jerusalem by the disbeliever standard.
Yeah, could you give me an example and give me a source where Muhammad prophesied or was able to tell us what Jerusalem looked like at the time?
I'm on my phone right now. I'd have to pause the live and go search up the source. If that's what you want, or we can.
What is the because it says he was taken from the sacred mosque to the furthest mosque, right?
To the mosque in Jerusalem, the Al-Aqsa.
What mosque was in Jerusalem?
Al-Aqsa.
Yeah, what mosque was that? Because there was, from
it wasn't
what I
constructed. That's what you're asking. I'm talking about the location.
Oh.
That's where he.
Oh, so there was no mosque at that time because it says he was taken to the mosque.
Right, but it was established by Solomon, I believe. I forgot.
Oh, the temple? You're talking about the temple?
Yeah, the one in Palestine.
Yeah, the temple was destroyed at that time.
Yeah.
So how did Muhammad get taken to the temple if there was no temple?
The location.
It doesn't say the location. It says he was taken to the temple.
It was still referred to that by that name.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, that's the Quranic description of it. That's what I'm saying.
No, the Quran says that he was taken from the sacred mosque. Is that a location or is that a building?
It's a location.
Also, the sacred mosque is not an actual mosque. It's a building. It's a place. It's an area?
Well, the mosque was established later on during the time of Umar, the second Khalifa. But at that time, it was not constructed.
So there was no sacred mosque in Muhammad's time? There was no actual mosque there?
Not a constructed building, no.
So, according to the Quran, it says that he was taken from the sacred mosque, which is an actual building, but you're saying it actually wasn't a building, it was just an area where in the future a mosque would be built. So there was no actual mosque that he was taken from, and then taken to the farthest mosque, which is supposed to be the temple of Jerusalem, when there was no temple. Really, it's just talking about the area that the temple used to be in. Is that right?
Yeah, correct. Can we move on to the Christianity now?
I need evidence, brother. Because this...
I told you, do you want me to pause the live? I only have one device right now. I'd have to search up their source. I believe that's in Ibn Ishaq's Sirah, but I would have to
take your time and give me evidence of Muhammad performing a miracle in the Quran. Because your Quran says he didn't perform any miracles. He's just a warner.
So what exactly are you asking for? Now we're kind of diverting.
I'm asking for evidence that Muhammad did anything, any miracles, that what he said was true. Evidence, brother.
Okay, and by evidence, I would appeal to Mutawatir Hadith, but you're saying this doesn't count because of the Quran. So what specifically are you asking for?
What makes the Quran true?
What makes the Quran true? I mean, its claims can be substantiated by the fact that the Prophet was true in his testimony.
Okay, the fact that the Prophet was true in his testimony. So basically, the Quran is true because Muhammad said so. Is that right?
Because we can prove him to be truthful.
How can you prove Muhammad to be truthful? Would you then say because the Quran says that he's a messenger of God?
No, because he's performed miracles that we have eyewitness.
Oh, so back to this. So back to what you have no evidence for, where the Quran says the opposite, that he performed no miracle. Can you show me anywhere in the Quran that it says he performed a miracle?
All right. Like I mentioned before, the event of Isra Miraj is a miracle.
Take care of yourself, bro. Take care of yourself. The religion of yes, no, and circles. Get up. Take care, bro. Please, somebody that, you know, can I get a good back and forth or something, man?
Hi, yeah, can you hear me?
Saif, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. How are you, my friend?
I'm good. So
I just came across you live, and you're asking Islam versus Christianity, which is true. I'm assuming you're a Christian or you're an atheist, or what's your background?
You said, what did you ask? I'm sorry.
I'm assuming you're Christian, aren't you? Or are you atheist?
But you said something. Yeah, I'm a Christian.
Okay, so here you're asking that really, which is true out of Christianity or Islam? Is that correct? That's
yes.
what you're proposing. So here we can approach this from multiple dimensions. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Firstly, the concept of God in Islam is quite clear, that there's one God, la ilaha illallah, and he is free from any partner or child or son. But the concept of God in Christianity is quite confusing. I think you'd agree with me that the Trinity is something which is... Okay, we can discuss this. You see,
I disagree that the concept of Islam is simple and easy to understand.
Okay, what makes you say that?
Are you a Sunni or are you Shia?
I'm a Sunni Muslim.
Okay. Do you affirm that Allah has like hands and a shin and face and stuff like that?
No. With Allah Azza wa Jal, we assign a metaphorical meaning that we don't assign physical body parts, but he has these parts according to the metaphorical meaning behind it. For example, we don't say that God has a human face or a animal face. He has a face which befits his majesty. Similarly, he has a shin and he has a calf, but not in the human sense, not in the physical sense.
Right. So does he have these body parts that are appropriate for his being? So are they real, or is it just metaphorically and figurative? That he doesn't really have a shin, or really have a calf, or really have a face. It's just metaphors for something else.
Yeah, so like I said, like he has a shin, but it's more. It's not, for example, if we were to, because we as humans, we're limited. We only know human beings and other forms of creation. So when we say, okay, shin, we're assuming a human shin. We will not assume an animal shin because that is not befitting of God. Similarly, but God is laysa kamithlihi shay. He's nothing like his creation. So he does have. He mentioned he has a face. He has a wajh, a face. But this is something metaphorical. But I wanted to touch upon. Well, you mentioned that, and in terms of these, the literal and
That's
metaphorical.
Yeah.
In terms of the Sunni creed, Ahl Sunnah, you have three schools of belief. You have the Ash'ari Aqidah, we have the Maturidi Aqidah, the Hanbali Aqidah, and all three schools are unanimous. There are slight differences, technical differences, but nothing that which is too thing.
But these aren't slight differences, because these differences are being debated, and even some people are takfired for their views on Allah's attributes.
Yeah, so
is that hugely important? And just to comment on this, when you say like that, and this is where the confusing part gets for me, is when you say that Allah is nothing like His creation, but he's being described just like His creation, right? Having a face, shin, eyes, hands, stuff like that. He's described just like His creation, but then we say that He's nothing like His creation, and so this concept is like, it's a little confusing to me.
Okay, I agree that there can be for this. I would recommend sitting with somebody who's for example an expert in this field of explaining, for example, the different aqidas. But one thing which is clear, or Islam is clear on, is monotheism. That we're a monotheistic religion. That there's one Lord, the one Creator, and He's laysa kamithlihi shay. He's separate from His creation. Now, the issue with Christianity, which I find confusing, is that there's
not one Creator in Islam either. There's multiple creators.
So please give an example of evidence on this.
Like so, for example, you believe that Jesus, by Allah's permission, created a bird from clay, right?
I think this has been mentioned in the narrations, that He, through Allah's permission, I can't remember this exact reference, but do you have the exact
chapter
reference?
3, yes, sir. Imran, verse 49. Jesus says that He came with a sign from their Lord, and He creates for them a bird from clay, and He breathes into it, and by Allah's permission, it becomes a bird.
Yeah, I don't think this is a Quranic verse.
It is. It's chapter 3, verse 49.
Chapter 3. Okay, just give me 1 second, yeah?
Sure.
Okay, I've just confirmed. Yeah, you are correct. This is a verse. I mean, yes, with the permission of Allah, yeah, He can. Jesus did do this.
So that makes two creators. Obviously, Allah's would be the ultimate one, or the best of creators, but Jesus would be a lesser creator with Allah. There's at least two.
Okay, so here I'll explain the concept of what it means to be a Khalifa, because here you have, I think there's some confusion here. But it was interesting I'll explain the concept of Khalifa, what it means to be a Khalifa of God. But let me ask you a question. What does it mean to be a steward? Because I believe that Christians believe that you are stewards upon the earth. Am I right?
Yeah, we believe that. I don't see how that has to do with Jesus here, because it doesn't say that about Jesus in this verse.
No, but I'm coming to this aspect of how this. So if I ask you, because I think being a steward is quite like a basic definition of Christian, like a person who's a steward. So how would you explain that? What does it mean to be a steward?
Well, this isn't, like I said, this is a kind of a deflection from the verse. However, we interpret us to be stewards of the earth, or the light of the earth, in that we're supposed to take care of it, or be ministers Under Christ, this is completely different from
Okay, so
Jesus creating a bird.
no, I'm making a point. So in Islam, a Khalifa means a representative of God, a representative. Okay. And I'm assuming the Christian term steward also means a representative of God, somebody who looks after the earth, someone who looks after the creation, who's good to the creation. I can see a similarity between the term Khalifa and the term steward. I think we can come to agreement here that the Khalifa aspect and steward aspect.
I have no problem. I'm failing to see the connection with Jesus creating.
Okay, now I'm going to mention it now. So,
Okay.
we as Muslims believe that every single human being is a Khalifa of Allah, a representative of God. Okay? Now, what does it mean to represent God? What it means to represent God is that God is I'll give you an example, yeah? Allah or God, He is the most beautiful. He is in Allah Jamilun, He's the most beautiful, and He loves beauty. So we as human beings, we should,
as well, but
we should reflect beauty in our actions. For example, God is Al-Kareem.
I don't mean to cut you. Man, you'll have God who has these characteristics in their ultimate form and senses. He's all merciful. He's the most beautiful. And we reflect beauty. We reflect mercy. We're not all merciful, but we reflect God's mercy. I understand what you're saying. How does
I'm assuming
this connect?
It's the same in Christianity, isn't it? Is it the same in Christianity?
Yes, very similar. How does that connect to Jesus being also a creator of life along with Allah?
Yeah, so here, look, Jesus only did that act through the permission of Allah. So it means the absolute power is only with Allah. But if God gives the power to Jesus to create, then that's fine here. But we understand that Jesus himself is our independent authority. He is not an independent source. Allah is the independent source. Allah is the Samad.
I got you. The problem that I have with what you said earlier is that in Islam it is taught that there is only one creator. That was the problem that I have because obviously Jesus is also a creator.
Okay.
You know?
So here, where the confusion is, where I can help you, is that the ultimate creator, Al-Khaliq. There's only one Al-Khaliq, the ultimate creator, and then Jesus reflected
Al-Khaliq doesn't mean that. Al-Khaliq just means the creator. That's all.
No. So Al-Khaliq means the ultimate creator.
No, it doesn't.
Because I mentioned
the word ultimate is not there.
No, so in terms of Al-Khaliq, it refers to the ultimate, as in we have Khaliq, which means the creator, but or the creator but the creator refers to the ultimate creator.
It's assuming there's only one. It's assuming there's only one. The creator is assuming that there's only one of those, right?
Yeah. So it's for example in the Quran, Allahu khaliqu kulli shay. Allah is the one who created everything. So it is referring to that He's the creator, and Jesus reflected the quality of Al-Khaliq. This explains all of the miracles.
But
that Jesus performed.
But Allah didn't create everything. There's something that He did not create.
Okay. So then, do you believe Jesus is independent of God?
I think He's a distinct person from Allah, but I would say that all in the Quran, Jesus and Allah work in tandem. I would say that Jesus doesn't do anything apart from Allah, like as we see here with His miracles and His creation. He did it with Allah's permission, but not necessarily by His power. It doesn't say He gave Him power, but just permission. But in light of all of this, the point is that also this creed within Sunni Islam is that there's one creator, right? But the Quran shows that there's multiple creators including Jesus.
Yeah,
the Quran would say that Allah created everything, but He didn't create everything. Jesus created that bird. Allah didn't create the bird.
No, you see, because Jesus and other messengers and prophets and friends of God, whoever they are, they all reflected His. When a man and a woman come together, and a baby is formed after 9 months, they never created the baby. Yeah, it was an act which they performed, but really the ultimate creator is God. And I think this is the same in Christianity. I don't think you believe that parents are individual gods. Am I correct?
We don't,
Do you believe
we don't believe that.
parents are
We
gods?
don't believe that. We don't believe that parents are creators at all. The Bible never says that. The Bible points to God is the one who creates us in the womb. Our parents don't create us; they're just the channel by which we come into this world, right? And they
Yeah,
perform
so
the
good.
action
Yeah,
which
okay,
God
good.
creates us with
100%.
Islam,
So it's
right?
the same
With
as
Islam.
Jesus.
Hold on, just let me finish. No, it's not the same with
Okay, sorry.
Jesus. With Jesus, he said, I create for you a bird from clay, and I breathe into it. And with Allah's permission, it becomes a bird. So he's doing this with Allah's permission, but it is him doing. He's the one doing it. So that's multiple creators in Islam, which again will go to the kind of confusing point when it comes to Tawheed. How these are attributes, creating life,
Okay.
and stuff like that. These are things that are supposed to belong to only to Allah, but we see that that Jesus also shares some of these attributes.
Okay, so I want to ask a question. I want to ask a question that is: do you think that the Trinity is a biblical concept, or was a concept which was introduced afterwards?
Yeah, it's a biblical concept. But again, I don't see how that's connected to Jesus being a co-creator with Allah. How is that connected?
Yeah. So this is a topic I wanted to speak about, really, with the Trinity being biblical.
So would it be fair? Because at first you said that one of the reasons why you see that Islam is true is because Islam has a very simple and understandable concept of God.
Yeah.
While in Christianity it teaches a very confusing concept of God in the Trinity. And so, in everything that we've been going over so far, can you see how the concept of God in Islam is a bit confusing?
No, it's not confusing. Here, you're failing to understand what it means to be a Khalifa, which is quite a simple concept. A Khalifa reflects God's qualities.
It doesn't call him a Khalifa.
Okay, I'll now mention the verse. Inni ja'ilun fil ardi Khalifa. We created upon the earth a representative. And that refers to every single human being. Including his sons, including the children.
Where does it say that? Where does it say that including the children, that they're also Khalifa on the
This is in the tafsir that every single human being is a representative of God. Whether you're black, you're white, you're poor. No, 1 second. Whether you're black, you're white, you're poor, you're rich, you're tall, you're short, it doesn't matter. Every single human being has equal access to fulfilling their purpose of life, which is being a Khalifa of God.
So we can agree that the Quran does not say that every human is a Khalifa, but it specifically talks about Adam being the Khalifa of the earth.
Yeah, in the verse, Inni ja'alun fil ardi Khalifa is referring to
Adam,
the
right?
Prophet Adam alayhi salam. And then in the tafsir and the supporting narration, that is every single human being.
What tafsir says that every single human being is a Khalifa?
I can bring you the references. That's not an issue. I can bring the references.
I'll wait for that. I'm interested to see that.
We can. You seem like a very polite brother and respectful, and why? Also, you have a lot of knowledge behind you. So, and the main thing is keeping decorum in these types of discussions, which I think you do have a lot of decorum. And you seem like you're sincere. I haven't seen you insult or anything. And in the time where on social media where there's a lot of toxicity and insulting, you keeping things which to the point. So I ask God to bless you, whether you believe Jesus is God or not. I've asked Jesus to bless you as well as a prophet.
Yeah, ask Jesus to bless,
but in his capacity as a messenger or prophet. But yeah, anyway,
only God can bless us.
Human beings can also make dua or prayer, and then God.
Right, they can supplicate for us, but
they
themselves can't give us a blessing, right?
Yeah.
So look,
obviously God is the ultimate source. Yeah.
So this is important to me. If you can bring me a reference that in the tafsir, maybe I don't know what top scholars you listen to or adhere to, maybe Ibn Kathir, Tabari, Qurtubi, I don't know, but if you can bring me some some of the main scholars, and they teach that every human being is a Khalifa on the earth. That would be an interesting thing to see. So I don't know if you need time to get that.
It won't be long. It won't be long. Because I'm not a hafiz of Quran as such. I'm just a student of knowledge. So I can just double check my references. But the Islamic belief is the mainstream Sunni belief is that human beings are representatives of God, and that includes the prophets and messengers. They were the most perfect representatives of God. they're ma'asum, they're completely perfect.
Yes,
including Jesus,
I
peace be upon him.
I gotta see that reference, brother, for me to believe that.
Okay, I can bring the reference for I can send you. I don't have really access. I'm just on my mobile, unless I bring my laptop.
Yeah. Are you at home where you can maybe pull it up?
Yeah, I'm at home. I can bring my laptop. Okay, we can. Let me just power my laptop on quickly, and I'll bring the reference.
Yeah.
But in the meantime, so I just came across your page, and I don't know your own journey. It'd be interesting to hear you. I don't know your own journey, or I don't know, would that be suitable, or is it just Islam or Christianity? But you seem quite interesting, and you have a lot of knowledge and in this regard. So it would be interesting to learn more about you.
Thank you. I'm an ex-Muslim.
Oh, okay, I see. So
I was born Muslim and then I left Islam.
Okay, I'm assuming you're from the States, or
yeah.
Okay, I think you can tell where I'm from. I've got a thick
I'm just
British Pakistani accent. I think.
I want to say I'm not like an ex-Muslim in the way that you think. I was just kind of jesting at the idea that everybody's born a Muslim until they leave Islam, you know.
Oh, no,
so I was just.
No, you are intelligent. I'll give you that. So what's your name then? So GodLogic. So what's your name like?
My name's Avery. My name's Avery. Yeah, GodLogic just represents like I lean on God's understanding, God's logic. You know, not my own understanding. That's
and where are you from in the state? Well, don't tell me your address, but just like your state.
California.
California. Okay. And can you guess where I'm from? Maybe from the accent, maybe.
I can't. I'm not good with geography, bro. But
no, I'm from Manchester.
Okay, yeah. For sure.
I'm from Manchester, in the UK.
Nice. I come to the UK like once a year, like in the summer.
Yeah, we can go out to eat. Okay, you've been to Speaker's Corner, yeah?
Mm-hmm. When I visit the UK, I'm usually on that side of town, like Speaker's Corner area, Piccadilly Circus area.
And do you have YouTube as well? Your TikTok, do you have a YouTube channel as well?
Yeah, same name. GodLogic Apologetics.
So I'm just getting the reference now whilst we speak. I just wanted to say, do you think there's scope for Muslims and Christians to unite?
To unite? Not really. Not realistically, no.
What? Because I'm quite optimistic in this regard.
You know, here's the thing, man. There's too much when it comes to religion, politics. That's going to always separate people. With religion, you got Christians that are heavily devout. Muslims are heavily devout. They take their religion seriously, and so there's always going to be that divide there. It's never realistic.
I think interesting point, but I'm working on a initiative where I've got the reference as well, so you can ask me anytime. I've got it up now. But I'll quickly mention. So in terms of let's focus on unity. So I believe that every human being is a beautiful soul. Okay, it doesn't matter if you're religious or irreligious. Okay,
that's not what the Quran says. You're going against the Quran.
Okay, so what makes you say that the Quran doesn't believe that? Like Muslim human beings are intrinsically.
The Quran says that those who disbelieve among the people of the book and the polytheists will have their abode in hellfire. They are the worst of creatures. You know, so I have no problem with obviously, religion saying that if you don't believe you're going to go to hell, of course, but it doesn't believe I'm a beautiful soul. It thinks I'm the worst of creatures to be a people of the book, a person of the book, disbelieving in Islam.
Yeah, look, I think there's context to the verse, which maybe might have been revealed in a time of war, or because obviously, as you know, behind every verse there is historical context, there is theological context as well.
It just has to do with the theology, brother. It has nothing to do with like their battles, like war-wise. It has to do with their theological differences. It says those who do not believe among the people of the book and the polytheists, they are going to go to hell. They are the worst of creatures.
Yeah. So look, in terms, so I'm telling you, so that's one verse, but I'll tell you how my teachers have taught us. So the way my teachers have taught myself is that, look, every single human being on the earth, no, not just human being, but even every single animal is sacred. It's sacred to God. And we should reunite on common values.
I'm sorry. Not every animal is sacred to God, man. Not the black dog, bro.
Yeah, okay. The black dog itself is a, but
the
even
black dog, right?
The devil.
See,
but even then, it's not befitting to harm. We still cannot harm the black dog.
I'm sorry. Isn't there a hadith where Muhammad was telling them people to kill all the black dogs?
No. I know because otherwise
let me see if I
can find it. Because then otherwise it gives legal precedent to killing dogs, which there's no legal precedent on.
Let's see real quick. Let's kill the black dog. Hadith. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so let me see. So this is Sahih Muslim 1572. It says, Allah's messenger ordered us to kill dogs, and we carried out this order so much that we also killed the dog coming with a woman from the desert. Then Allah's apostle forbade their killing. He said, it is your duty, the jet black dog having 2 spots on the eyes, for it is a devil. So I guess he was talking about specific dogs, huh?
Yes, he must have. Plus, it was abrogated as well, but it was just may have been done. Yeah, for like a lot of things were done and then abrogated. But look, the essence I'm coming with that. Look, we as Muslims and Christians, look, there are theological differences. There's no doubt, but we are at the end of the day, we are humans and we are sharing the same earth. So we can, for example, we both believe that being generous, being kind, being merciful, being forgiving, these are intrinsic qualities. Do we not agree?
I believe
let's say feeding the poor. Let's say feeding the poor, or coming together.
I think these are things that God commands us to do. I don't know. I don't know if that's innate for, like, I think you have to be taught kind of to do these things and to go that way sometimes, but some people don't have to. So I guess it could be an innate moral compass that God has given us, right, to reflect his.
Like the fitrah, like you might we have an innate disposition to do good. For example, like a young child, if he going near a fire, he wouldn't go near it. He may go near it, he may feel the warmth of it. He won't maybe stick his hand inside, depending on his age. Or similarly, like even you can assume a rapist or murderer, the worst of people. Even then, if they see like somebody about to get killed, let's say, or they may come to save them, and like these like even the worst of people have these innate.
So let me ask you this: How do you reconcile, like the verse I talked about, 98:6, that says we're the worst of creatures for disbelieving in Islam? How do you reconcile that verse with an idea that Allah, like every soul is beloved to Allah, even the disbeliever?
Okay, so the verse is verse 98:6 here.
Yeah.
Surah Bay. Okay, let me just bring it. 1 second. So.
And you said you had the tafsir as well?
Yes, I've got the tafsir. Okay, I've got the Khalifa one here. So he's Ibn Kathir. He's a prolific. Writer of tafsir. So he mentions regarding the verse with قال ربك للملائكة إني جاعل في الأرض خليفة.
What verse is that? Sorry, what verse?
Is 230.
230. Thank you.
So Surah Baqarah verse 30, Ibn Kathir. So he mentioned that God reiterated his favor on the children of Adam when he stated that he mentioned them in the highest of heights before he created them. Allah said, وَإِذْ قَالَ رَبُّكَ لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ, and remember when your Lord said to the angels, this ayah means, O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, mention to your people what Allah said to the angels, verily I'm going to place a Khalifa upon the earth, meaning people reproducing generation after generation. And just as he said, وَهُوَ الَّذِي جعلكم خلائف الأرض, and it is He who has made you خلائف, generations coming after generations. So this refers to وَيَجْعَلَكُمْ خُلَفَاءَ الْأَرْضِ, and we have made you inheritors of the earth, etc. So obviously this refers to all of the children of Adam are sons, are khulafa, are representatives. This now explains all miraculous events, for example, Jesus. And we as Muslims believe the Prophet Jesus, alayhi salam, he's a great prophet, great messenger. And he was and God gave his ruh, Allah, and God gifted him with.
How would that, I'm sorry, how does that go with Jesus doing an attribute that only belongs to Allah, creating life?
But here's the point: every so a person can reflect every single quality. So the quality of giving life is al-muhyi. So he reflected the quality of al-muhyi.
It's referred to what?
So he said that. Now, how did Jesus give life? What was it?
No, not how did Jesus give life. I'm saying, how does this, every human being supposed to be a representative of God on the earth who inherits the earth and stuff like that, right? And is supposed to sustain it and stuff like that. How does that reflect on Jesus doing something that only Allah can do, which is create life? Because I would agree that there are, when we are a reflection of God, we reflect His character, right? Okay. We don't have the same abilities. So how does that go with, Christ creating life, which is something that is said that only Allah can do?
Okay, interesting. So here, just to so in terms of this, for example, normally, like we know that God is He is al-muhyi, which means the giver of life. He is al-muhyi. And this is an attribute which is called dhati, which means it is pertaining to Himself. So He is al-muhyi. Okay. However,
talking about Allah. Right?
Yeah, talking about Allah. Yeah. So He's al-muhyi. However, for example, when Jesus he for example he performed the action which gave life to the bird, is a reflection of the quality of al-muhyi, the same way when a man and a woman, they meet together under the sheets, and then after 9 months there's a baby. Still, these are human actions causing life, but the source is al-muhyi, which is Allah, and He is as-samad, the completely independent. So we didn't have a problem with saying, yeah, Jesus did give life to the dead, but not as an independent source. He gave life to the dead by reflecting one of God's qualities.
So
which is totally understandable.
Yeah, you would say that when I show somebody mercy, that I'm reflecting God's quality, right?
Yeah. So for example, mercy. God is Ar-Rahman. So if you forgive somebody, you reflect the quality.
Exactly. So when I'm doing this, I'm reflecting God's character. Do I have the ability to do the same thing Allah does? Like his divine attributes.
Yes. Okay. Interesting. So every single one of His attributes is divine. Not even Jesus, alayhi salam, who's a great prophet and messenger. I'm talking about certain. So I don't know if you heard about awliya, but awliya are friends of God. So they're not prophets or messengers, but they're saints. There's also stories of saints in the religion, like Sheikh Abdul Qadir Jilani. You might have heard of him. He's quite famous.
That's not really what I'm asking, brother. I'm asking, talking about. You would agree that there are attributes that are unique to Allah and Allah alone. Would you agree with that?
For example, yes, like He is al-wahid, the unique, al-wahid, the unique, al-ahad. He's as-samad, completely independent. So yeah. So there's certain qualities independent to Him.
Exactly. Would you agree that creating life is a quality that is unique and independent to Allah alone?
Typically, yes. Typically.
Right. So we're not talking about reflecting His character. We're talking about doing performing divine acts that are unique to Allah alone. That this is, matter of fact, it's so good that even Allah uses this as a challenge to false gods, right? He tells them, create even a fly if you can. You can't even create a something as small as a fly to the false idols and stuff, right? So creating is something that is unique to God alone. No creature can do such a thing. But Jesus, he is able to create. He creates with the permission of Allah. He gives him permission to do it. But he creates. So he's not independent. He's he does it with the permission of Allah, but he creates.
Which we agree with that.
Right. That creating, again, is something that only God can do. It's not something that human beings can reflect. It's not. It's not in our nature.
Okay. So just to clarify, so you're saying that Jesus, creating something only God can do.
Creating life, yeah.
Creating life, sorry. I'm making a note of it.
Yep. Creating life is something only God can do. Mm-hmm.
And the creation cannot reflect this quality of al-Muhyi.
It's not something that human beings can reflect. It's not something that we can do even in a smaller way to reflect God's attribute. Like, we can't do that. That's something that's unique to God alone. He creates life. He sustains life. He sustains the universe. He's eternal. These things.
So, now to answer. So the first point is, the Quran actually mentions, I just read the verse again, the Arabic, and it mentions, I form for you from clay the shape. So it's mentioning two verses, not just in one. 3, 4.
Chapter 5 as well.
Verse 10. Then I breathe into it, and it becomes a bird bi'idhnillah, by the permission of God. So this is when God uses the term bi'idhnillah, which means that Allah is the ultimate source and He is the one who gave life. Jesus was the means. So this is the first point, that God made it clear bi'idhnillah, with the permission of Allah. That's what He mentioned at the end of the verse.
I agree that Jesus does it with Allah's permission.
Okay, now let's hear the difference now. So you're saying that there's a difference between creating life versus being a means for life. Okay, creating life versus being a means for life. So Islam we make a fundamental distinction. Okay, Allah is al-Muhyi. He is the giver of life. He is independent. He is alone, and He's intrinsic. However, a prophet acting as a means. For example, the Prophet Isa alayhi salam, he did not possess life-giving power in himself. He never had this in himself. He shaped clay.
Why not?
Because only Allah is al-Muhyi.
But see, and here's the thing with this. If only Allah is the one who gives life, but we see Jesus giving life, why is the assumption that Jesus doesn't have that innate ability to give life himself? He just does it at the permission of Allah. Like, he only acts. Like, for example, if let's say that I'm your soldier, right? And you're my commander, you're my general, right? I'm your sniper. We have a target that we're going after, and I have the target in my sights, right? I have the innate ability to pew the target, but I don't pew the target unless I get permission from you, my general. So you give me the okay, the go ahead. Yes, go ahead. You have permission to take him out. So I then pew at your permission. But I already had that innate ability myself, though. I have that skill myself. So why are we assuming that Jesus doesn't have that innate ability himself and is just a perfect servant?
Okay, interesting. So that's a human metaphor, and obviously humans have, for example, innate abilities. But when comparing God and human beings, God doesn't only give permission; He also gives them the power as well, the qudra. He also gives the idhn and the qudra, the permission and the power. So Jesus
where does it say?
Mm-hmm. So this is a.
Sorry, I didn't mean sorry, there's like a little lag or something. Sorry, but that's what I was saying. Like, would you agree that there's a difference? There's a distinction between giving permission and giving power. Would you agree with that?
Yeah. So with permission, the power comes with the permission. Idhan includes the power.
See that now? That's where I disagree. I disagree that giving permission includes giving power. I could give you permission to do something all day, but if you don't have the ability to do it, you can't do it.
Okay, so you're saying that
Right?
there's a distinction.
You have to have the ability to do it.
Okay, so then you think there's a distinction between power and permission. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, similar to what I just said, right? I have the power to pew pew, right? But I don't have your permission to pew pew yet. I will only pew pew once you give me the permission to do it.
Okay,
Right?
interesting.
I'm
okay.
only saying I'm saying pew pew because of TikTok rules, guys.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Oh, that makes sense. Look, in Islamic theology, power. So yes, you're right. There is a distinction. You're right between power and permission. Qudra and idhan. Okay, qudra is power, idhan. Okay, in Islamic theology, power is an intrinsic attribute that belongs to the doer. So yes, now only Allah possesses intrinsic power. Okay, everything else.
Why do you say that?
Okay, if Jesus had intrinsic power to give life, then why did he require permission? He could do it independently.
Because he's a perfect servant of the one who sent him. So just like how so just like I can pew pew the target. Listen to this.
Yeah.
I can pew pew the target when I want. If I wanted to, I could pew pew. But I'm a good soldier, and I don't do anything outside of my general's permission.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying? I'm not a rogue soldier. So like Jesus, he's not a rogue soldier. He's not a rogue ninja. He's a perfect example, an exemplary example of a messenger and a prophet and an agent of God. And he does not act alone. So when he does things, he does it by the permission of the one who sent him. It doesn't mean that he doesn't have that ability innately.
Okay, but a being that needs permission is not God by definition.
I disagree. That's like saying a king who needs permission. That's like saying a king who needs permission is not a king by definition.
Okay, but does God need permission to act? Does God ask permission to act?
I didn't say that.
No, because answer it.
I didn't say that at all.
Okay, but I'm saying, does God ask permission to act?
In some cases.
No.
In some cases, you have stories of the prophets where God asked to do something, and the person says yes. So
you're saying God asks permission to act, do something.
God can ask of people's free will. Absolutely, there's no problem with that.
So a being that needs permission is not God by definition.
I didn't say that he needs permission, but he can honor the person that he's dealing with. Right? When you are honoring the person that you're dealing with, you can ask them permission.
I'm saying, right? does
not
God
that you're
need,
acting on their authority.
I'm saying, does God need?
No, he doesn't. No, he does not.
Okay. So God does not need to ask. Okay, so this proves that Jesus is the God from the Quran, because he asked for permission.
Well, brother, him asking for permission is not a negation of him being God. Like let's even forget God. Just 1 second. Let's even forget God for a second, because you don't believe he's God in the Quran. We're talking about him having the innate ability to create life. You're saying that simply because he asked permission means he doesn't have innate ability. He doesn't have the power within himself to do it. I disagree. You have to demonstrate that, because Jesus, being a perfect, humble servant of Allah, is a good reason why he doesn't do anything outside of Allah's permission, where he only acts on Allah's permission. Not that he needs permission to be able to do what he's doing, but because he's a good servant, he only acts on his permission. Like if I'm a good soldier, I only act on the permission of my general, even though I have the ability to shoot myself. I have my own ability to shoot, but I only act on permission of my general.
So Jesus is God.
Good soldier.
Okay, So I'm just trying to like understand this here. This is interesting. So
Yeah.
you're saying that Jesus is God, but he asked permission from greater God because he's honoring
I'm
him.
not arguing that Jesus is God right now. I'm not arguing that Jesus is God.
So you're not saying, you're saying Jesus is not
I'm-
God. Okay, that's good. So you're Muslim then?
I'm not arguing either or, Safe. Please listen. I'm not
Okay,
arguing
okay.
right now that Jesus is God or Jesus is not God.
Okay,
It's not my argument.
okay. So you're saying Jesus
My
is not God. Alhamdulillah.
argument is my argument is that Jesus is a creator within Islam with Allah, and that Jesus has the ability within himself to create life like Allah does. But he only does it with Allah's permission. That's my argument.
Yeah. So yeah, Jesus creates with the permission of God. Yeah, we both agree with that. That's evident.
Yeah, but your argument is that Jesus doesn't have that Allah gave him the power to create life.
Yeah, because he
I
creates
don't.
bi'idhnillah with
The
permission
text
of
doesn't
God.
say
Yeah.
that.
It says bi'idhnillah with the permission of Allah.
And I hope we don't go in circles. You and I already agreed that there's a distinction between giving permission and giving power. We already agreed that there's a distinction. So let's not resurface that and go back in circle.
Yeah.
So giving permission does not equal giving power. So Jesus creating the bird by Allah's permission doesn't mean that Allah gave him power to do it. The case could also be that Jesus already had the power to create and he only does it at the permission of Allah.
Okay, I get where you're coming from. Yeah, I get where you're coming from. But look, here is a matter of I say I agree, you don't agree. Then it's a bit. How do you say? I get you. Obviously,
I think
for Muslims, it's clear that God doesn't need permission. So that's what, and you're saying that he's honoring God, the Father. So I don't know. But yeah, I think
I'm not bringing in the Christian view here. I'm not talking about the Father. I'm not talking about any of that. I'm talking about specifically what the Quran says. I'm not bringing in a Christian view here. According to the Quran says in chapter 4, verse 172, that Jesus is a perfect servant of Allah. That he never ceases to serve and do the will of Allah. So we know that Jesus, according to the Quran, is not a rogue ninja. Everything he does is in tandem with Allah. He never goes on his own whim, on his own will to do things. Okay.
that's correct.
So also, we see that Jesus is able to create a bird from clay. And we see that he does it with Allah's permission. Again, highlighting Force 178, that he's the perfect servant of Allah and doesn't go on his own whim. So therefore, just like a good soldier, Jesus has the ability to create, but he doesn't go off and start creating unless he has the okay from Allah to go ahead and create.
Which proves he isn't God. Yeah, that's correct.
No, prove that he's divine if he's creating life, bro.
Okay,
It proves he's divine.
interesting. Okay, so here, okay, that's fine. MashaAllah. May God bless you. You seem sincere.
You too, man.
It's
Look, next time you come back, I'll be live tomorrow. Next time you come back, we can talk about Christianity and the Trinity. Okay?
okay, inshallah. I'll come back tomorrow, inshallah. Ya Allah bless you. May God bless you. May Jesus bless you with God's permission as well.
And may Jesus bless you with the Father's permission.
Amen.